So when we took over Penthouse, actually 4 years ago today, it was amazing to go through some of the old magazines from the 60s and the 70s. And the magazine was founded in 1965 in the UK, went to the United States in 1969. And one thing that was consistent, aside from the photography, which we love very much, was the fact that the magazine was dedicated to freedom of speech. It was born during the sexual revolution, during second wave feminism, and since then it fought for women's rights, black rights, gay rights, Vietnam vet rights. Bob Guccione, the founder, actually has a plaque in Washington for his contribution to civil rights and Vietnam vet rights specifically. What we find fascinating today is that the Dear Penthouse letters, which aren't as entertaining as they used to be, regrettably, really are from angry feminists, PC bigots, we call them, and really the modern left, which is ironically screaming at us from the soapboxes that we built for them by liberating them over the last sort of 52 years. And when I heard Milo speak, I reckon it would have been about a year ago now, I thought, here's a guy who's very, very misunderstood. And, you know, Penthouse really understands what he's about. You know, and I always encourage people that you should actually read what he writes rather than what people write about him. And when I spoke to my publicist, I said, you know what, I've got an idea. I'd like to bring Milo out on behalf of Penthouse, and I'd like to reinvent Penthouse Forum, which many of us would remember are those delightful letters that we used to read as teenagers, more than likely at night, under the covers, before internet porn destroyed it for everybody, regrettably. Anyway, that's beside the point. So we worked on it, and it has been the most amazing roller coaster ride since February this year. The last 8 weeks, it has been a case of, I reckon, 15 to 20,000 pieces of hate mail, and maybe 100,000 pieces of love mail from people that have been supporting us and supporting Milo's tour. And as you're going to find out, we've sold over 10,000 tickets to 5 sold out shows. There's 2 more to go, and they will sell out by the time they come around. So yeah, it's interesting how a lot of people ask the question, how does Penthouse marry up with Milo? I'll be speaking about that at the shows on the night. But you know, just a little bit of interesting history for those that are historians. The First Amendment, which Milo talks about quite a lot, is the right to free speech in America, is actually only intact because of Penthouse magazine. When the evangelists that elected Reagan in the mid-80s pushed for the Meese Commission, which was the the commission into the effects of pornography and all that, it was Bob Guccione and Penthouse that put up the millions of dollars to take that all the way to the Supreme Court and actually keep the First Amendment intact. So our fates are kind of intertwined, and as I've said before, as long as I'm publishing this magazine, we will remain true to our DNA, which is free speech, and as far as the girls are concerned, that's freedom of expression. No one forces them to do anything they don't want to do, and in fact, they're very well paid for it. So if anyone's got any questions around the magazine or anything else, I'm happy to answer them before he gets here. Otherwise, while we wait for him, there's not much else I can say.
Have you had to cancel the first Sydney show or move its venue?
Sorry?
Have you had to move the venue of the first Sydney show?
Yeah, we have, and there was nothing untoward about that. Effectively what happened was the venue was in the middle of a very large construction zone. I'm not going to name and shame because I don't think that's professional, but basically the developer of that area, which is also involved in the venue by virtue of ownership, had huge concerns around security. A lot of that area is open, the roads are blocked, etc. We had meetings with the police about all that, and effectively the advice from the police was we can do it, but we need to have over 160 police there just to make sure that all the roads, etc., are obviously, security is paramount. We don't want anyone to get hurt. We obviously accept the fact that there's protesters. We accept the fact that people don't necessarily agree with Milo. Our job, and we're spending a lot of money on security, I can assure you of that, is to make sure that everything's worthwhile. It just got too hard. So we looked around for other venues of a similar size, and the numbers are in the thousands, and there just wasn't anything available. So we ended up moving the date, and everybody who's bought a ticket is obviously entitled for that night.
They just wanted that the venue owner had concerns about Milo's views.
No, the venue owner does not have concerns about Milo's views. That was contracted twice actually, because we needed to get a bigger room and paid for. There was no problem. It was actually the concerns around the security. All the venues, I can tell you unequivocally that we have had discussions with so many venues that do have problems with Milo's views, and they refuse to host him. That has been an issue since February this year. But this particular venue, that wasn't the case. So this was really just a case of security.
What is it you're spending on security?
Milo's personal bodyguards is around $40,000. There's a fair few of those, and then each venue is slightly different. It's probably well over $150,000 going across the 5 shows, just in terms of police presence, because we do have to pay for police presence, depending on whether the police will only deploy so many people, and then after that there's our responsibility too. So yeah, it's pretty big.
Have you secured a second venue, a new venue?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
When will the show go ahead?
5th of December. It's a Tuesday, and then Wednesday's the 6th.
Is the location going to be revealed, or will it be revealed the day before?
Well, yeah, people won't be able to get there otherwise.
Yeah, well, where is it?
Oh, I can't tell you now.
So when will the venue
Oh,
be
24
revealed?
hours before.
And why is that? For what reasons?
To minimise protesters. Because if they obviously have a heads up, then they will go there and cause more damage and whatever it is that they want to. Well, effectively they prove our point most of the time. But we do what we can to ensure the safety of firstly Milo, secondly me, and thirdly all the people that have paid good money to see him. So yeah, that's really it.